Try this matchup. Low prices and faster checkout. You can count on it at Fry's.
Welcome to the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. I'm Daniel Berk, joined today by Star reporter Bruce Pascoe, and we are here in the middle of the Star newsroom. And Bruce, this is typically a pretty busy time of the year for you. Last year, it seemed like you couldn't buy a day off. James Whitford leaving, and Grant Jarrett, and Zach Peters, and Aaron Gordon. But this year, totally different story, right? It seems like you've had a little more time to rest after the season.
Yeah, it's definitely been different. It's probably the quietest offseason in some time, certainly in the Sean Miller era. I mean, there's you never know. I mean, things could still happen if there's a chain on the coaching carousel, so to speak, and maybe one of the assistants get hired somewhere. But as of right now, it looks like the assistants are here. They're full on scholarships, so they're not actively recruiting. There's a possibility of adding a player. But as of right now, they're full, so there's nobody coming, nobody going, no coaches leaving. It's actually kind of eerie. You
mentioned the coaching staff, and a good problem that Sean Miller has had to fight here the last couple of years are his assistants getting head coaching jobs, whether it's James Whitford or Archie Miller. And it looks like today, as we talk, that his three assistants, Book Richardson, Damon Stoudemire, and Joe Pasternak, will all be back next season. How important is that for this program to continue to build that chemistry within the coaching staff and to have those coaches come back?
Yeah, the continuity across the board is terrific for them. I mean, there was a chance that Joe Pasternak, I believe, was interviewed at Cal for that job there, and he had a chance, and he's still going to get hired somewhere. It's just a matter of time with him. He's already been a head coach at New Orleans, and he will be somewhere else in the future. But yeah, having that continuity is great for teaching these guys and just the relationships they have. I think when they do leave, the assistant coaches is not as much. You saw when Archie Miller left a couple of years ago, and Nick Johnson was really hurt by that because they had grown so strong in the recruiting process. But in the end, he knows, Nick Johnson was okay with that. He said, you got to do what you got to do, and obviously it's worked out pretty well for Archie. So everyone moves on, but it certainly does help to have that kind of stability.
We're chatting with Bruce Pascoe today. This is our Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. And Bruce, last week, Sean Miller chatted with the Tucson media and for almost an hour, and you learned a lot. Now it seems like we pretty much know what next year's team is going to look like. This year's team, the identity was very much defensive, how well they played defense. What is, in your very early estimation, the identity of next year's team going to be now that we know the personnel?
I think it's actually going to be pretty similar, really. Okay. I think they're going to be defense. I think, well, always with Miller, defense is going to be their calling card. That's what he wants, and that's what he's recruiting to, and then the guys are buying into it, and they're going to be good. They just got a couple different pieces there, and the leadership function is going to be a little different without Nick Johnson around. But I think defensively wise, athletic wise, they're going to be pretty balanced again. I think they have potential for a guy like Stanley Johnson to score a heck of a lot, but they're still going to be pretty balanced overall. And then their shooting, as it was this year, maybe still a little bit of an issue. They've got guys who can score it, but as far as knockdown shooting, it's going to be interesting to see if somebody really steps up there.
And in terms of the guys that are coming back, whether it's T.J. McConnell and Caleb Tarczewski and Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, where do these guys need to improve their games? Where do they need to develop these next 5 or 6 months before the start of the 14-15 season?
Well, you look at like Caleb Tarczewski down low. I mean, he made a pretty big jump this year, I think, offensively certainly, and he's not a bad defender either, and that could continue there. And of course, that process too is all about the other guys working with him and getting him the ball at the right time and the right place, and that's always a process. But they've got a really good engine to do that with T.J. McConnell. So and Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, as great as he was defensively and aggressiveness getting to the basket, it was fun to watch, and he really came on at the end of the year. But if he could develop a little bit offensively, mid-range and a long-range shooting game a little bit, he's going to be lights out if he can do that. So there's going to be some interesting things there, and really, they have a lot of pieces. They came on this year and in pretty good shape.
All right, we're going to let Bruce Pascoe run for the day. He'll be back next week to talk about some recruiting and potential pieces that the Wildcats could add. But for now, that is today's episode of the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. For Bruce Pascoe, I'm Daniel Berk saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.